Hey. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a house. That's right. We have to acknowledge the fact that today is indeed Mother's Day. Shout out to all of the mothers. Of course, I am Ivan alongside Stefan. Here we are, 8 p.m. sharp on a Sunday, as we have already been doing for the past month and a half, nearly 2 months at this point. Really quickly, Stefan, I know you might have a thing or two to say before we get into our first topic, but I want to start off today's show by shouting out all of the mothers. Shout out to your
Yes.
mom, Stefan. I want to shout out my girlfriend, who this is I would say her first Mother's Day, if we're being technical, right? Last year she was pregnant around this
She was
time,
on.
but
She was on
today
the
is very
verge, but
different. We
it's
have a 7-month-old boy. So shout out to my
damn.
girlfriend, shout out to my mom, shout out to my grandmother, and shout out to the women who are also mothers who watch 27 outs. We may not know who you guys
Yes.
are, but
Yes.
if you're a mom and you're watching 27 outs, shout out to you. We appreciate it.
Yes, definitely. Shout out to all the moms out there. My mom's in Florida right now. She had a wedding yesterday, so she's living her best life. She's out there just moving around and shaking. My
As she
mom,
should, bro. As
my
she
mom,
should.
my mom moves more than the president, dude. She's outside. If she ain't in PA, she's over here. But mom deserves it. She's worked hard, and you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
your
So
mom is great, man. Every
she,
time we come together, because you guys don't know, right? But Stefan and I have said this before. We are friends, not only for the purpose of 27 hours, but also off the air as well. And his mom, man, every time we come by, she does her damn thing. Like, there is nothing bad that I could say about visiting your crib when it comes to your mom, bro.
listen, when it comes to listen, for those that we're gonna talk a little inside baseball, but like my mom, like she goes in with the food and the desserts and there's never you can never leave my crib hungry. Let's put it like that. My mom, that's a love language. Some people they like to make things and give people things, and like when you come to my crib, you gotta eat. That's a law. If you don't eat, then we failed. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. So shout out to Mom Dukes for doing the damn thing. But uh before we get into this Mother's Day edition, I just want to make 2 points real quick. Um, we're at 85 subscribers, guys. So we're less than 15 subscribers away from our next goal. Our next goal is 100 subscribers. And if you help us get to 100 subscribers, not only will you have a chance to
Pick one of the topics.
that, and you will also have the chance to get another piece of bonus content. So I'm really excited to see what the future may hold. And
Just to add on to what you're saying, Stefan, really quickly, as we always say when we do every single episode of 27 Outs,
yes,
as you may know, today is episode 12. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at 27 Outs 3C. I don't only say that for the sake of when it comes to the show, but guys, I may sound like a broken record at this point, but it is the truth. If you want to find out breaking news when it comes to any team, not just the Yankees, not just the Mets, because we live in New York, or we live rather, sorry. I know I sounded like leave, but yeah, Stefan really makes 27 Outs 3C the go-to page for where you find breaking news. I don't only say that as somebody who does this show alongside him, but as a baseball fan itself. Like, even prior to 27 Outs, Stefan was the guy who I would go to when it comes to just wanting to know anything. So again, if you're not following us on Instagram, follow us at 27 Outs 3C. And of course, if you're tuning in right now live, which is via YouTube, the only way to catch us, unless you're catching us after the fact, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel because, as Stefan mentioned, if you help us get to 100 subscribers, you guys get to pick one of the topics on an episode. Yes, live, and you get a bonus clip. I mean, does it get any better than that? You'd have to tell me if it does, because I don't think so.
Listen, that's a great deal. Also, I'm gonna have the phone in my hand tonight because I think we're gonna get some news because I've been hearing rumblings for like the past weekend about a couple trade candidates, and so we're gonna dive into at least one of those names on this show today. What I will say is there's gonna be some updates about the White Sox being posted to the 27 Out page. I would say in the next 2 to 3 days, because I've been hearing stuff about the White Sox. They want to move some pieces around. They want to do some things. So if what I'm hearing is accurate, it's going to be a long summer on South Side. It already is a long season, but they're gonna basically tear up that team. But speaking of making an impression, yo, take this away, bro. Because if I start talking, I'm not gonna be able to shut up. I'm serious. So start this off.
Let's get into it. So the number one prospect, of course, Paul Skenes, he finally got the call to the big leagues by the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it wasn't bad. It was something impressionable. I think it was something that was worth watching. I think we have seen better debuts, but that's not a knock on Paul Skenes. I think he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And for anyone who was expecting him to go deep into a ball game or for him to really do something that was not something that we've seen before, it's possible. He's definitely a guy who could do something like that. But in his first start, it was something, at least for me, I would say, that left me wanting more. And what I mean by that is I want to see what his second start in the big leagues is going to look like.
Yes.
What his third start in the big leagues is going to look like. And I know a lot of people, even mainstream media, was comparing Paul Skenes' debut to Steven Strasburg's debut. Listen, I get it. We like to compare this guy to that guy. And it's not just a baseball thing, right? We see it happen in nearly every single damn sport at this point. But Paul Skenes is Paul Skenes. And he's going to show us exactly who he will be. Not just that, but who he is capable of being, right? Steven Strasburg, as we all know, has retired at this point in his career. Stefan and I, we have talked about it briefly on one of these shows. He's a guy who you definitely remember what he was like, but you also have that what if question when it comes to what he could have been because of the injuries and because of the fact that the career was not as long as many people have thought. But when it comes to Paul Skenes, man, I mean, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they have something to look forward to. They certainly do.
As you can look at this stuff, the stuff is electric. Your man came out throwing 101 yesterday. His first pitch out the gate was 102, and I was like, all right, this should be fun. Listen, guys, Ivan said it best. I can't add anything else, but we have to at some point let Paul Skenes be Paul Skenes. Like, I understand we want to have the Strasburg comps and all the comps to all these different great pitchers. And you know what? You can. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. But I do think it also hurts his growth because now we start to talk about something that is unrealistic. First of all, I will just say this because I think it's an interesting back and forth that we're going to have. I thought his debut was awesome. Right. I thought he was electric. I thought, listen, if this is what he has to present us with, I want to see what this looks like for a full season, right? The thing that I was most impressed with was his poise and his ability to just slow the moment down and just be like, you know what? This is just another game. I'm playing pitch and catch. I'm going to use all my pitches. Now, he was dominating with the fastball. Yes, that fastball was otherworldly in terms of the ability to to strike people out and have velocity. But I will say this. I saw 2 starts of his before his MLB debut. His command was not good. A lot of arm side run, he wasn't able to get the ball exactly where he wanted it. For those that don't understand what arm side run is, I'm going to explain it. So you ever see when you get a left-handed batter and it's left on left and you're trying to go to the you're trying to go towards the batter. He wasn't able to get inside with his fastball. A lot of pitches down. He wasn't able to create that, spill back pitch like Roy Halladay used to throw in Greg Maddux, where it would start like it was going to hit you in the thigh and then spill back over the plate for a strike. He wasn't able to control the inside corner, which is why you look at him and you go, if this is you on subpar control, I would hate to see what a locked in Paul Skenes looks like, because I thought he was dynamic. There's a couple of things you want to work through, like the 3-2 counts, a lot of 3-2 counts, a lot of trying to feel his way through the at bats. But I thought he was great. He was great, and I thought he responded for the moment. And I will say this: shout out to the crowd at PNC for showing up. That atmosphere was electric. When he came out, it was almost like the Elvis came out, or the Beatles, or friggin' I thought Mac Miller came down from heaven when Paul Skenes came out. Shout out to Mac Miller, RIP, Pittsburgh legend, by the way. Just a great time, and honestly, that's what makes baseball great. That's what makes it great, because we sit up and we look forward to these debuts. You don't get it.
I just want to remind people too. And sorry, Stefan, but this is. Let's be very clear about Paul Skenes and what his role is now for the Oakland Athletics.
Pittsburgh Pirates, you mean?
Excuse me. The Pittsburgh Pirates. My bad. I'm already getting ahead of the following topic, but just to give you guys a sneak peek, I just ruined it for you guys. But on to Paul Skenes, of course. What he has done leading up to this point for the Pittsburgh Pirates is, magnificent. I might be getting ahead of myself when I say this, and if I am, I'll own up to it when the time comes, right?
Right.
But when have we all been this excited about a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates since Garrett Cole? Let's be honest. There really hasn't been a Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher. Now, prospect, I get it. Might be a different story. But a pitcher itself, I don't think the Pirates have been this excited about having a starting pitcher since Garrett Cole.
Yeah, and let's not sleep on Mitch Keller, because Mitch Keller is nasty. Let's not sleep on Jared Jones, because he's nasty too. They got three of them number one sitting at the top of the rotation going, boy, if we get it together in a playoff series, you do not want to see us. The problem with the Pittsburgh Pirates is right after Paul Skenes left, they started walking the yard. The concession stand lady, you, me, the people in the friggin' river that were on a boat, they got walked too. At that point, damn, you were walking all the PNC at that point.
Yeah, and I think we have to expect that, especially early on in his career.
But I'm talking about after he left the game, because he left the game with a 6-1 lead.
Right.
And within like 20 minutes, the lead was gone.
Yeah.
Because the guy that came in from the bullpen just walked everybody and their system.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
As bad as it sounds when it comes to the Pittsburgh Pirates and what they did when he finally was out of the game, I think we kind of expect that with a lot of go-to guys and who the number one starting pitcher is, and hopefully I would hope that Paul Skenes is that guy.
Right.
The Pirates moving forward over the next 5, 10, and even beyond 10 years. But I think a lot of guys, you rely on this one guy to be your workhorse. And outside of that, you just pray and hope that everyone kind of does their job.
Their thing, yeah.
So, with Paul Skenes, especially early on, what I do want to say to a lot of fans is don't expect him to go deep into ball games. I think right now he is just working on, one, being a major league ball player. Not just that, but just working on his pitches. Like, what has gotten him to this point? What has gotten him to being on the major league roster for the Pittsburgh Pirates and perfecting the pitches that he has been using leading up to this point. And then once you reach that extent, that's when you kind of work on durability and working deep into ball games. Because I kind of feel like when you work at everything all at once, it could become overwhelming. You're worrying about perfecting your fastball. You're worrying about perfecting your all-speed pitches. And you're worrying about getting deep into ball games beyond the 5th inning, the 6th inning, perhaps even the 7th inning, which I would say is a little too early for a guy like him. But definitely good signs, great signs, I would say.
Definitely. And that was never going to happen because if you see how they started him in AAA, it was 3 inning increments. He only threw 27 innings, at AAA. Now, granted, in those 27 innings, his ERA was 0.99. He was under 1. He struck out 45, and he walked 8 guys in Indianapolis for the AAA team. So he was on some, I'm ready to go. And I think, if you ask me, I think Derek Shelton, the manager of the Pirates, he kept him out there too long. I think I would have pulled him right after the 4th, where he got that inning, where he was looking really sharp, and you could tell he kind of emptied the tank. Because the second start before this, he got up to 75 pitches. So they got him up to 84, which means his next time out, he's probably going to get to 100. But I can't wait till the 100 becomes more efficient. And what I mean by more efficient is you don't get into deep counts. Not a lot of 3-2. It's a lot of because once he learns that you can't hit that slinker or whatever it's called, plus the fastball, plus he got a great curveball, 7 innings might be the bar for this dude at one point. You know what I'm saying? So you just hope that he's able to learn how to pitch with the stuff that he has. And listen, the background's important. This guy went to the Air Force Academy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's an intelligent dude. He studied science and he was a great teammate. Before he went to LSU, he was ready to commit to being in the Navy, but he went to LSU and helped that program win the College World Series. But he's just incredible. The stat that blew my mind, he's the youngest pitcher to make their debut since Ben McDonald in 1980. That is incredible. Like, Paul Skenes, to think he's going to turn 22 years old in about 18 days. And this guy is in the big leagues just making big league hitters look like, yo, dog, y'all lucky I had bad command yesterday because I was about to strike out 10 of y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and his age, especially when it comes to him making his major league debut, I feel like it sounds just about right when it comes to, especially nowadays, when it comes to when a lot of players are making their debut and how young they are and how early they are able to hit free agency because of how early they make it to the big leagues. Paul Skenes, man, listen, if you don't know, now you know, especially considering the fact that he finally made his first start as a Major League Baseball player. He is what I would say, and this is not me getting ahead of myself. This is not me speaking sooner than I should be speaking. Paul Skenes is another guy who you will most certainly hear again on this show.
Oh, next week we're going to talk about.
Or hear about, rather, I should say.
Next week we're going to talk about, because all his starts are must-see TV, except for if the Knicks are on at the same time that Paul Skenes is pitching. But other than that, he's must-see TV.
Speaking of the Knicks, I mean, I don't know, man. It's looking like a 2-2 series.
It's fine.
I don't know what to expect, man. A lot of key players, I would say, who, had they been healthy at this point, which unfortunately they are not, which is stating the obvious, but they're missing some guys who could certainly help them out in a crucial way.
I got you. But let me just point this out for the record. 1, Game 3, they got jobbed. The goaltend call on Josh Hart that the ball was at the rim and this guy blocked it off the backboard, that's already on the backboard. 1, that's a goaltend. 2, on the drive to the rim, that should have been an offensive foul because Isaiah Hartenstein was getting held like in a full Nelson, like this was WWE. All right? So that's an offensive foul. So this should be a 3-0 series, but we're not going to do that. I'm just going to let you know. They're playing with 7 dudes. At some point, you had to think.
And that's what worries me, by the way. 7 is the number that concerns me.
But that's the reality of where we're at. And I'm going to
get it.
It's all right. To equate it to baseball, it's like when you get in the playoffs. You know what CeCe did for the Brewers when he pitched them into the playoffs?
Right, when he got traded from the Indians to the Brewers. I remember.
This guy made 3 straight starts on 3 days rest and was dominant. And the last one, you were like, yo, see, I don't know how you're doing this, but goddamn.
But here's the thing, though. I think the goal was for them to actually make the playoffs, which they did.
And they did. So what I'm saying is, it's almost the same thing with this. Yes, it sucks that we got 7 dudes, But our goal is to, and honestly, I'm going to say this: they left it all out there in Game 3. Game 3 might be the game that we look back on and go, "Damn, you got a crazy performance from DiVincenzo. Brunson was below average, and you still almost won the game. And then today was just a microcosm of Indiana got hot.
They looked flat from the moment they got the first jump ball going. I mean the Knicks were out of it after the first inning.
Yo, shout out to your cat, dog. We need more cat appearances on the show. Shout out to your cat. Let him rock, bro. Let that boy rock, bro. How old is he?
He is 4, almost 4, I would say.
Yo, shout out to your cat, yo.
Yeah.
Meow. With that being said, enough Nick talk because I'm depressed just even thinking about the idea of them losing the series.
Any last thoughts on Paul Skenes, or are you ready to get into these comments?
I will tell you this. Paul Skenes, you know who Paul Skenes reminds me of? Here's a comp. Paul Skenes reminds me of a very, very, very young. You're gonna think, oh my God, you're nuts for even making this comp. But shout out to your cat again. Yeah, your cat's more popular than you right now.
He's all up in the camera, all up in the mic. He's just
I love it. Paul Skenes reminds me of a very young Randy Johnson, but right-handed. Very young. Very, very young. Very raw, too. Because when Randy Johnson first came up, it was kind of this tall dude, kind of got to get all his faculties together. Now he was a lefty, and Paul Skenes is a righty, but incredible stuff. The future is bright for that young man, and I can't wait to watch him continue to do his thing.
Yeah, I think if he lives up to exactly what the Pittsburgh Pirates are expecting of him, and that's not to be their number one pitcher as soon as he makes his debut, of course, but as he continues to make
progress soon thereafter.
Within like the next year or two, you know, if he's able to live up to not just the hype, but what the Pirates themselves are expecting of him to be, he might just help the process. He might just speed up the process of what the Pittsburgh Pirates want to be within the next couple of years, man, because we've talked about it on the show before. The Pittsburgh Pirates are one of those sneaky teams in the National League Central. I know we talk about the Cubs, we talk about the Brewers, but the Pirates, man, they just might. Not only will they play spoiler when it comes to certain teams in the National League, but fuck around enough and they just might catch a damn wild card berth. I know it's too soon. It's too soon. But you never know.
No, it's not too soon because I'm going to tell you this. With that pitching, you're never out of a game. Like, they're going to keep you in the game. The question is, can the Pirates do enough to score? That's going to be the biggest key for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be the thing that determines their season. But, this guy was incredible. The future is bright for him. Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, they got some boys down there. So, shouts out to them. I'm super excited. I'm super enthralled with the idea of Paul Skenes just being, someone that we hope to get a look at and get a feel for and get to know, because he seems like he's a good dude. He seems like he's one of those dudes that when you get to know him, you'll probably root for him even more. You know what I'm saying? That's the impression I got just watching him from afar. Great teammate. Nobody has nothing bad to say about him. Genuinely good dude. I'm thrilled for him.
Thrilled. And the fact that he finally got the call doesn't surprise me because Stefan, you and I were talking about it before he finally made his major league debut. Sorry, what he was doing in AAA was just unheard of, right? Like he was showing the Pirates that, I made a mistake by keeping me down here because I'm more than ready to be at the big league level.
Real quick, can you imagine if this guy was a closer?
With that fastball,
oh my God,
he'd be striking out guys. Literally, the first 3 guys do up, it would be a wrap.
Yo, dog, if this guy was a closer, you'd be winning games in the 7th inning. Because nobody wants to deal with that. Not for a full. Nah, you crazy? No way. No way. shout out to closers and crazy and just filthy. Somebody tell the Oakland Athletics they might have the best closer in the game. Stuff wise, I know Clay Holmes is unbelievable. I don't want to piss off any of my Yankee fans because I could already hear a few of them chirping. Yo, why you ain't talk about Clay Holmes? How you just give this guy the designation? So before you guys come at our necks, okay, stuff wise, this kid Mason Miller he's that dude. Let's read off some of them statistics and let's have a conversation. But the first thing I want to ask, because you usually ask me the questions, but I'm gonna flip it and ask you the question this time. Will the Oakland A's be right by moving him, or do you feel like he's someone that you build your team around, knowing you got him under club control till 2029? You're supposed to be moving to Vegas in a few years, and he's one of those dudes that they don't grow 103 on trees. Now they grow 97s, 98s now, but 103, that feels different.
You're right. Here's what I would say when it comes to Mason Miller and the A's, right? Considering the fact, as you mentioned, Stefan, that they have him under club control until 2029, correct?
Yes.
Right. So if I'm the A's, I'm going to give this thing up until, I'd say, roughly around 2026, 2027. I'd give it at least 2 to 3 years before I even start to consider that. Because you want to see what you're able to put around Mason Miller, not just in terms of pitching, but in terms of an actual roster and what you guys are able to do as an overall team. But right now, if he is able to continue what he is doing, not just now, but for the rest of the season and even over the rest of his contract as an Oakland Athletic, listen, man, this man is going to win reliever of the year. I can see it once or twice.
Yeah.
He already won reliever of the month, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to remind everybody, Mason Miller, this is his first shot at being a relief pitcher. He was a starter prior to this, so this is unfamiliar territory, and he's living up to exactly what the A's would like.
Yo, dog, did you just read what's scrolling at the bottom of the screen? Hold up. Read that again, guys. Look at this. I have to point this out because that's craziness. Look at this. I didn't mean to cut you off, but bro, look at it. 1.10 ERA in 13 games over 16 innings. He has 33 strikeouts and 8 saves. Are you kidding me, bro?
That's unheard of.
This guy's
elite.
Yo, this guy allowed 1 hit over his last 7 games. This stat is in there, I believe. 1 hit over 7 games. Are you kidding me, bro? What? That's just filthy. That's not even fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, hold up. 1 hit? 1 hit in 7 games? Damn, dog. You're not playing fair, man. You're not playing fair, dog.
Yeah, no, he's a different breed.
That kid is ridiculous. That kid, the only thing you hope is that he doesn't get hurt or he doesn't go through any significant injury before the A's either get good or they have a chance to trade him. That's the only thing that you hope does not happen. And according to Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic, they're already receiving calls on trading.
That's crazy.
And you already know one team that's called.
Yo, first of all, for the teams who are calling the Oakland Athletics regarding Mason Miller, can y'all at least allow them and him to enjoy the marriage that they have come to? Because, yo, y'all are waiting for a divorce a little too quickly. You're like, yo, pipe down. Let him be an Oakland Athletic for a bit before y'all start picking up the phone to inquire about him.
Teams already calling. Like, I know Baltimore called and Philly called and you know the Yankees probably called. Like, yeah, let's get this monster in the back end of the bullpen. Can you imagine? First of all, can you imagine this guy in Arizona? Like, you tell Paul Sewell, listen, it's nice. You were nice being the closer, but let's put you in the 8th inning. Let's put this beast in the 9th inning. Your bullpen issues go away. That's it. It's over. And so that right there, and you make a good point. I think I would suggest that they trade him just because the volatility of a pitcher. He's already had a problem with his UCL. He's already dealt with a few things. So as far as I'm concerned, I would think about trading him if all the cards were left on the table. By the way, we have to read a few of these comments because there's a number of comments that came in. So let's read a few of these and then get back to the conversation.
Sorry, I was muted there. I was saying let's get into them before we move forward with this.
Average fastball 103. Wow. Foul Player says, peace, bros. Happy Mother's Day to, you know what I mean?
Yo, Joey, shout out to you, bro.
Shout out to you, brother. We have a comment here that I think is prevalent. A's are going to trade Miller with the right package because they're not looking to trade. That's an interesting concept. And the reason why that's an interesting concept, Razor, is because I don't necessarily agree with you. I would hold on to him, but I understand why they would move him because the stuff is just ridiculous, and the amount the package you could get back for that dude, right? Ivan, like the package you're gonna get back for the dude is not anything normal.
That right now.
No, that package you're gonna get back for the dude is just like, yo, dog, I hear that. I hear everything you're saying, but this guy can literally change the fortunes of somebody's franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like he can literally change the fortunes of somebody's franchise. And as crazy as it sounds, if you're the Oakland A's, you kind of have to cash out before it becomes too late. Before it becomes something that you're sitting there like, yo, this guy's elbow is never going to be the same. He's dealt with XYZ. He's not the same pitcher he once was. Like if you're the Oakland A's, especially if, listen, I know they're talking about increasing payroll. I'm here for the conversation. But I'm here for the conversation when it happens. I'm going to pull a you, Ivan. Until I see John Fisher actually increase this payroll, I ain't hearing nothing you talk about till you do it. Because we've heard you say, well, we plan to make some real changes and we really want to do what's best for the franchise. At some point, what my saying is, you either got to take a shit or get off the pot. So,
Golly, you saw how that dropped? Wow.
Look at that. Look at this dude.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on. First of all, go back. You talking about the change?
First of all, the fact that he's able to throw an off-speed pitch like that's
disgusting.
Then to hit 102
that
should be illegal.
That first of all,
that should be considered a weapon.
Hold on, bro. He just threw first of all, you got 100 at your friggin' ear.
Sheesh.
Right? Look at this. You talking about this pitch right here? Oh my God. Look at that filth. And then 100 up and away, right? Yo, you want to hit him? Watch this. Well, hey, nice to meet you. Bingo. Hook City.
How do you hit that? How do you hit that? And by the way, I don't blame the hitters who are swinging and missing when they're in the box against Mason Miller. But listen, how do you hit that?
No,
please tell me, how do you hit that? How do you prepare for that?
There was a sequence.
How do you prepare for an off-speed pitch to be in the low 80s, high 70s, to then see it be followed up with 102, 103?
Yo, nah, the kid is.
I don't think there's a game plan for that, bro.
There's not. You just close your eyes and pray.
you have to pray while you're in the on deck circle.
No, you close your eyes and pray. You're like, hold up, yo, God, if I don't ask you for anything else this year, let me try and hit this dude, because that's just listen. There was a clip in here. I'm gonna find it. He struck out Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Anthony Rizzo on like 9 pitches earlier this year.
That's when he struck out the side.
No, first of all, look at this filth. Here's the clip.
I believe it was the A's playing the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. If I'm not mistaken.
No. Look
had struck it out.
Look at this filth. We're gonna. He starts off with Volpe, like, hold on, Volpe, you ain't hitting me. Hold on, we're gonna run this back up because that's just disgusting. I just want to let y'all know he just told Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, yo, go sit down. This ain't for you. Your man out here is playing on another level, and he just cheating, y'all. This ain't fair. Why you doing that to this man?
You know what amazes me too is
look. He starts off Volpe. Oh, you swung at that. Got him.
Outside is crazy, bro.
Juan Soto got him. Who are you? I don't care who you are. Aaron Judge, see you later. Bam.
This is some of the best hitters in Major League Baseball, man. I mean, we're talking about Juan Soto, Aaron Judge.
Yo, you see how late Juan Soto is on that fastball? It's in the glove.
No, how do you hit 103 that high? It's impossible.
It's in the glove. Aaron Judge is like, wait. How do I time this? I got to get my foot down and do what?
Listen, bro. I think even had he told Judge or Juan Soto, I'm throwing my fastball and I'm throwing it up.
Nah,
he still can't prepare for it, bro.
Nah, you're not.
That shit is too goddamn fast.
And
too fast.
And then if he's feeling frisky, he can hit you with a changeup.
Right, that'll have your knees buckling. Like, oh, you was waiting for 103.
Yeah,
he is like 20 miles per hour less.
That's disgusting,
which is unfair.
Dog. And he's only 25. He's only 25. He's not going to hit free agency until he's like 31, I think, or 30. What?
The A's, listen, man. The A's have something going for themselves. I know outside of Mason Miller, they have a lot of question marks, and not just regarding the team, but as well as their next home and what things are going to look like moving forward over the next couple of years. But one thing that we can all agree on is that they have a closer, and his name is Mason Miller.
And that stuff is disgusting.
Yeah.
That stuff is disgusting. Listen, if I'm standing up in the box, you know what I'm doing to hold it back? You ain't killing my batting average. No, I'm just taking 3 heaters down the middle. I can't hit this dude. What am I swing for, dude? You're throwing a heater at me. It might hit my chest, and then you're going to come back and throw a slinky changeup. What am I supposed to do? If you stand in the box, you got to be hopeless like your dog. All right, bro, you ain't playing fair. It's like the dude that he comes to the park and he's throwing harder than all the other kids, and then he breaks out this all-speed pitch that you just like. You're not playing fair, dude. This is supposed to be for fun. No, this ain't for fun, dude. Wow. Oakland, trade that man before something bad happens. You don't know what to do with him anyway. Trade that man. Seriously.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Steph.
Good Lord.
You know, considering the fact that he's under club control through 2029, as you can see that there. I think the A's have to
740,000.
Right. I think the A's have to treat Mason Miller as a player who is here for a good time, not a long time. And I hate to say that, but realistically speaking, the A's just don't have any sort of direction that they're aiming towards right now.
Right.
Like they're worried about where they're gonna play next. They're worried about who's actually gonna be a respectable player at the big league level, right? And it's unfortunate, man, because I remember when the A's had guys like Josh Donaldson, Yoenis Cespedes, and so many other players.
Sonny Gray was on that team.
Sonny Gray, well, they made things
Sonny
interesting.
Gray was on that team. Yeah, no.
Were a legitimate threat in the American League, whether it be via the division in the American League West or even via the wild card. But times have changed, and I would like for a guy like Mason Miller to bring things like that back to life for the franchise and the fan base.
I agree with you. And I'll leave it here. If teams are already calling, you know they have the one player at the trade deadline that if this dude even thinks about getting moved, people are gonna people are gonna throw their kids in the deal. Yo, take my kid. That kid is disgusting. Speaking of taking things, we got to get into the Cleveland Guardians because I had an interesting thought watching them over the weekend. That division feels flawed to me. That whole division just feels flawed. And the only reason why the Guardians are good right now is because the Royals pitching hasn't gotten to that crescendo peak yet, where if they can get some outs and the lineup keeps producing, the Orioles are gonna overtake these dudes. Because I'm looking at Cleveland today, and I'm like, I look at your lineup outside of Jose Ramirez, like who am I supposed to fear? Like
I was thinking exactly that, man. There was a time when, in addition to Jose Ramirez, and it's been a couple of years now, but there was a guy by the name of Francisco Lindor who there was, another
protection,
guy who you also had to worry about. But
right?
I
Yeah.
agree with you, Stefan. If I'm a pitcher, if I'm a team and I'm facing the Guardians and I'm looking at who they have in that lineup, Jose Ramirez is really the only guy, in my opinion. And this may vary depending on who you speak to, but Jose Ramirez is really the only player who I'm really like worrying about going into a series, because outside of that, they don't have much going for themselves. And I'll say this too. I'm sorry. I don't want to rain on their parade. I don't want to sound like a hater. Shout out to the Guardian. Shout out to the fan base.
Mhm.
Listen, I think right now they are playing above their standards. I
Right.
think the Cleveland Guardians, if you were to ask me going into the 2024 regular season, they are a team who I thought would be hovering around the 500 mark.
Mhm.
Obviously, as we speak today, they are clearly way above that. But I
Mhm.
think they are playing above their standards, and that's to their credit. That's not to discredit them in any way. But I just don't think what they have done leading up to today is sustainable moving forward. Now, do I think that they can continue to make things interesting
Mhm. Mhm.
and the division moving forward as the season progresses? Certainly,
Mhm.
because the Twins, I don't consider them an actual threat, but they probably finished the season off as the division champs in the American League Central, possibly. But you got teams like the Guardians and the Royals who are going to make it interesting. But I feel like the Guardians are also in a state where they are testing the waters when it comes to what they have on their roster,
Mhm.
but they are also on the edge. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, as we get closer to the trade deadline, we start hearing guys like being mentioned, because we talked about it on one of our previous episodes a few weeks ago. The Guardians are doing this without their best pitcher, and that's Shane Bieber,
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy. Yeah.
So the
Mhm.
fact that they are doing this, I give them nothing but a thumbs up, and I give them all the credit in the world. But how long can you sustain this, right? Because a guy like Shane Bieber is not easily replaceable. He might be irreplaceable if you ask me.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. We will have to see.
So this is my thought on the Guardians, and I have one thought. The one thought is, listen, the reason why they're as good as they are the exact opposite of what the San Diego Padres were. Like, we thought the Padres with all this talent, they're gonna be in it every year. The Guardians make do with a lot less talent, and they make do with a lot less payroll. Like, you look at the Guardians every year, they're in the lower third of payroll around baseball every year. And they just find dudes that can continue to, play above their head, as you stated. And one guy that I will say one guy that I will highlight is Stephen Kwan. Like, Stephen Kwan was this guy before he got hurt. He was literally the best player on that team. Like, he was. You want to talk about offense? This guy, what he hit? I think I saw the numbers. He hit like 353 before he got hurt, and his OPS was like 845. Yeah, yeah, right. So I posted it even. Like, Stephen Kwan's a very good baseball player, and you just look at them and you go, listen. You hope you can get more from Tristan McKenzie. You hope you can get more from a guy like Logan Allen. You hope their number one pitching prospect, Gavin Williams, gets on the mound here at some point, because that rotation's looking awfully thin, even with Carlos Carrasco pitching a little above average at this point. Like, that's wow. And to know that I believe. What's their record? Google their record for me. I believe it's 24 and 25 and 16 is what I saw today. I could be wrong though. I saw 25 and 16. I
Right
could be
now,
wrong.
yep, 25 and 16 is correct.
25 and 16. And you know what's crazy? We talked about a stat last week, which I think we should take a second to explain. Do me a favor, for the people out there that don't understand what this stat means, can you explain to them briefly what run differential is, and then we'll tell you where the Guardians rank in run differential.
Yeah, so for those of you guys who don't know, which is okay, that's why we have guys like Stefan as well as myself to break things like this for you on 27 outs. Run differential is pretty much the difference in what you score against the team and what opponents score against you. You put those two things together, and it is either a negative or it's a positive number. And that's how run differential is put together.
And you know what their run differential is right now?
Plus 35.
That's ridiculous. To even know that they're that good. What? I was looking at the numbers earlier, and I was like, wait. This is real? This is a real thing? Plus 35 is your run differential? And listen, it's not like their offense is tearing the cover off the ball. Like they're averaging, what's their run average? Well, how many runs a game are they averaging per game?
Let's see.
They got to be averaging less than 6, right? Or at 6.
I'll find out right now.
Hold on, let's see if we pull this up. Hold on. So you guys can all see it together. But they gotta be. They ain't. I know they ain't scoring crazy runs, man. Like
they are scoring 4 runs per game right now. The Guardians are ranked 11th in Major League Baseball when it comes to teams runs per game.
That's
4.7, nearly 5.
So they're ranked 11th, right? And that's with Shane Bieber being down. That means the pitching has kept them in games. What do you mean, yo? That's crazy, dog.
Yeah, they're definitely playing above their standards. And listen, man, sometimes when you have the right guys together, and there's not too many household names, and there really isn't too many guys who have to be catered to, or I'm sorry to say, babied. You know, sometimes players have to be babied, depending on who they are. But the Guardians aren't dealing with anything like that in this case, right? And let's not forget, this is the Guardians team who 2 seasons ago they took the Yankees to Game 5 in the American League Division Series. And I don't think a lot of people had the Guardians making things interesting in that series against the Yankees. Now, unfortunately, last season they of course didn't make the playoffs, but with the start that they are off to now and with how weak the American League Central is, it wouldn't surprise me if they could somehow sneak into the playoffs with what they have currently.
Yo,
it wouldn't surprise me, not one bit.
You want to see something crazy? All right, let's go through this because I told you guys we were going to school in the chat. If you're all right, so let's just look at their home games, right? You guys can all see that. I know I haven't. You can see it, right? So at home, there are their home games, right? They are giving up a full run more than their away games. At home, they're pitching to a 3.87. On the road, they're pitching to a 3.07. When I saw that today, I was like, hold on. So you're almost pitching to a full run higher at home than you are on the road. I'm like, that is I looked at it, I was like, yo, that's crazy, because you would think, yo, at home, they probably feel more comfortable. Look at where they're ranked. Hold on. Did I just pass them?
Yeah, you passed them. They're right there, 9th. I see them.
They're 9th. And you would think, yo, damn, what? And I think at home, they're like 4th. I mean, on the road, they're like 4th. Let's go look at this. Away games. Bam, right? Let's look at the where we go. Pitching, right? On the road, they're ranked. Where are we? They're ranked 10th. Yo, dog, I was looking at that number today and I damn near had a coronary. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yo, you know when you see something and you can't believe what the hell you just saw?
Right.
And you sitting there, like, you ever see the kid that like rubs his eyes like on Christmas morning because he can't believe the gift he got? I was like, yo, that's a full run higher. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy, dog.
I think, and
wow.
I don't want to, be Mr. Negative or be that guy who is speaking of negative things into existence, but I think for the Guardians to want to, retain a guy like Jose Ramirez, to want to retain a guy like Tristan McKenzie, or Manuel Clase, or Shane Bieber, who unfortunately is hurt right now, they have to sustain not exactly what they're doing right now, but they have to remain afloat 500, because the moment I think they become less than that once again is when I think they will start answering some of those calls when it comes to those guys that I just mentioned. So I think the Guardians have to enjoy it for what it is, try to sustain it again, as I mentioned, to the best of your ability, and see what you could do, not only in the American League Central, but if not, maybe via a wild card, and see what kind of noise you could make. Because listen, I don't think anyone had the Cleveland Guardians off to this hot start to begin this regular season. But the fact that they are doing it a month and a half, nearly 2 months into the regular season, it's something worth watching.
Yeah. But let me ask you this, because you usually ask the questions, and I feel like I'm flipping the tables and I'm asking the questions today. Let me ask you this. If they have this many flaws already as a team, and you see the flaws, the lineup is not. Listen, Josh Naylor is a great player. The kid Jimenez that they got from the Mets in the Lindor deal, he's a great player. Like, I like him.
Yeah, they got I think it was Ahmed Rosario and Andres Jimenez.
Andres Jimenez, who homered today, by the way, after fouling a ball off his knee. He looked like me trying to get up in the morning. You know when you see that old person with the old person gimp that look, and then he homers like the next pitch, right? So I'm like, okay, we know how good they can be. We see how good they can be. We understand what they're capable of doing. My question is why wait to get to that point when you can probably do this now? Like, if we look, Shane Bieber is supposed to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Right.
He's probably going to do what Brandon Woodruff done. For those that don't know what Brandon Woodruff did, he took a 2-year deal with the Brewers, 1 year of like rehab, and then the half of next year to get himself the half of the year after to kind of pitch himself back into shape. Like, you may have to do that if you're Shane Bieber, and the Guardians might get him for a discounted rate. And as far as Jose Ramirez goes, he signed an 8-year contract a couple years ago. He's under contract. He's not going anywhere unless he asked to be traded, which so far he hasn't done. So it's just
and teams like the Guardians too. I know the furthest that we have seen him go, or at least reach, I should say, is the World Series back when they had played the Chicago Cubs and lost. But they, of course, made it very interesting. For those who don't remember, or if you don't know, I recommend you go back and watch that series between the Cubs and the Cleveland Indians at the time, but now known as the Cleveland Guardians, because that was a hell of a series. But yeah, ever since then, man, and that's what happens when teams aren't these top tier or these top level market teams who make a lot of noise year in, year out. You really have to make the best of what you have, and it's usually not something that has longevity, right? It's something that you have to jump on, you have to act on as quickly as you can, because if not, the window closes right before you even can imagine.
Very quickly. And so, like, as much as we hate to say it, like, trading a Steven Kwan may have to happen sooner rather than later. You know, trading an Emmanuel Clase, who's under contract. What, he signed a 5-year deal for like $20 million? That was the entirety of the deal. As good as that is, and as team friendly as it is, we just talked about Mason Miller and how volatile his arm is. Like, if you get to a point where Emmanuel Clase starts experiencing elbow problems and shoulder problems and you can't get out from under it, you know what I'm saying? That changes the calculus of what you can get back, especially when you're a mid to small market team. You know what I'm saying? So the Guardians have a lot to consider.
Right.
And with that, we've considered a lot ourselves. This show was
That's
fun.
right. Let's get into some of the comments that we still had here before we wrap up today's Mother's Day edition of 27 Outs. Ray says that's crazy.
Yep.
Razor says, yeah, I learned
something.
Or maybe the Guardians should buy in. Maybe they should expand the budget.
They should.
That's interesting.
They should. And the reason why I think that, this comment's going to start a conversation. Just 2 seconds. Like, Guardian fans want them to spend some money because it's like, we've been so good for so long with a lot less. And to know that we can't continue to build on this trajectory. Jose Ramirez in his prime. Stephen Kwan is in his prime. Shane Bieber is like, you know what I mean? Like, he's as good as it gets when he's healthy. Like, at what point do we reinvest into the team? Because the one thing you know about Cleveland fans, they're going to show up. You remember in the 90s when they back then the Indians were good? Jacob Field was sold out. That place was sold out every night.
Right.
It was like a party in there. So it's like,
I think they had there was Manny Ramirez, Roberto Alomar.
You had Carlos Baerga.
Yes.
Yep. Eddie Murray. David Justice was on
that. Kenny Lofton as well at the time. Yeah.
Kenny Lofton. Yo, they had a squad back then. Travis Fryman. Omar Vizquel.
Yes.
Ooh. Friggin', they had, and you were like, hold up. This is all on one team? One team? Y'all rolling in here with one team? That 3-4-5, Jim told me Manny Ramirez and Carlos Baerga was like, hold on.
Legit,
dude.
Yeah.
You talking about you rolling in here with these monsters? What?
This is back when Jim Thome was still fairly young, but somewhat experienced at the time.
Was a monster,
this was a very young, an extremely young Manny Ramirez who was a legitimate threat early on.
Oh my God.
Manny Ramirez in the 90s, he wasn't somebody who you just looked at and thought you could get him out easily, bro.
I remember him hitting a ball. I remember, speaking of like crazy, I remember him hitting a ball off of like El Duque. And he hit it in the third deck. You remember old Yankee Stadium? The third deck was like if you hit the third deck, you went places that rarely ever people went. I'm like, what is this, dog?
Right.
Are you serious?
Emilio says Albert
Bell.
Right.
What?
Another power hitting player.
Yo, and I'm saying that they had Charles Henke as a pitcher. They had Earl Hershiser towards the end. They had a young Bartolo Colon. Young Bartolo was filthy, dog. You think he's throwing heaters now? Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yo, imagine they would have kept that together with Cliff Lee, Bartolo Colon, CC. Oh my God.
Nah, that would have been illegal, bro. They would have had Manny Ramirez and
oh my God,
Lee and CC, like you said. Nah,
oh my God. Oh. And that's why you understand the pain of a Guardian fan, because they seen it at the apex when, we win the championship series every year. We were a mid to small market. I think the record is 755 sellouts. They've done this. Why can't you do it again? Why can't you say, you know what? We're going to invest in player development, both on the pitching and the offensive side, and we're going to try and recreate something similar, not the same, but something similar to give the fans a hope and a dream of like, this could be something that we look back on in, 4 or 5 years where it's unbelievable. You're heartbroken for Cleveland fans, man, because that place used to jump when they were good back in the days.
Yeah. By the way, I prefer the old name. I know we can no longer say that, but I certainly prefer the Cleveland Indians. I prefer the Indian being the logo. Like, I just love everything that came along with the Indians, or the Guardians, I should say, in the past.
But I understand why they did it due to the the racial aspects and the Native American. Like, I get why they did it, but if you talk to their fan base, they don't even refer to this team as the Guardians. A lot of them still refer to them as the Indians,
and I don't blame them.
and that's in the fan base. Yeah, it's slippery terrain. You don't want to piss off the Native Americans out here. So
right. All right, so that's it for today's Mother's Day edition of 27 Outs. Of course, this was episode 12. For those of you who are new here, thanks for tuning in. Welcome aboard. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at 27outs3C.
Like,
YouTube,
share,
like, comment, share, subscribe.
Yes,
subscribe. I'm gonna say it one last time before we go. I know Stefan has some stuff to say himself before we leave, but make sure you subscribe because we have some good stuff on the way the more you continue to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Also, if you follow the Instagram in the next couple days, there's gonna be a little nugget. I don't know who saw that Blue Jay nugget last week, but there was a Blue Jay nugget that was in there. I don't know who caught that little Easter egg, but there was an Easter egg in there for you guys last week. There might be a little more Easter eggs for you this year.
That's right. That's right. I mean? By the way, we did a video on whether the Blue Jays should start to rebuild and reconsider what they have going on for themselves. That video is still relevant. So make sure you go back and check that out. Right. Shout out to everyone who got our latest video regarding Luis Arraez and the Padres trading for him to more than 100 views. You guys did it yet again. So shout out to you guys for helping us to reach that plateau.
Yes.
Once again. Any last words? Anything regarding the Knicks? I know 2-2.
No,
it could be very different we come here again next Sunday, 8 p.m.
I'm not gonna say anything regarding the Knicks.
Tell us what you have to say, Stefan.
I'm not gonna. All I'm gonna say is this. I hope that OG Anunoby grows a new hamstring in the next 48 hours, because if he doesn't, Pacers in 6.
Wow. So okay, just to clear the air, what you're saying is if OG Anunoby does not come back this series, you're telling me that the Pacers, not the Knicks, are going to win round 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you why. You got 7 people.
Or the Eastern Conference Semifinals, excuse me.
No, you got 7 people. 7 people. That's as big as that's as much as your bench goes. 7 people.
And they're all playing more than 40 plus minutes.
Nah. What are we doing? What are we doing? Dante DiVincenzo looking like your man.
Damn, man. I didn't know it would come to this, bro. Oh, shit. Yo, here it goes with the Knicks hurting us yet again.
And it's not their fault. It's not their fault. You can't blame them. Listen. And real quick, can we stop yelling about Tom Thibodeau and the minutes police, please? This ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, he's got no one else to play.
Joel Embiid, I'm leaving. 2, what are you supposed to do? Who are you supposed to play? Who? He played Alex Burks today the last 2 games because he was desperate. You think he really wants to play Alex Burks? Tibbs is on the sideline going, please, Jesus.
You know what? Honestly,
I don't want to play this dude.
Up. I know we have to go, but I hate to say this, but I think I agree with you, bro. I think if OG Anunoby does not come back for this series, I think the Knicks go home. And I hate to say that because I still thought that the Knicks would be able to win this series, considering the fact that they were up 2-0. But the last 2 games have shown us otherwise. And it's looking just like that, right? You blink, you snap your fingers. It went from the momentum being on the Knicks side to all of a sudden it's on Indiana's side.
That's just
anyway,
shit. We're gonna talk about this more off mic because this is a baseball show, and I could really be here another hour, but I'm not gonna do that to y'all. What I will say is, pray for me, y'all. Pray for me.
Pray for Stefan. Pray for Emilio. Emilio, you can't hide. We know you're a Knicks fan.
Pray for all the diehard Knicks fans that yo. But knowing this team the way that I do, they'll find a way to win Game 5. And we'll be right back in this position going, yo, can they snatch one? Yo, can they snatch? This team is nuts. The moment I say, oh, the season's over, Jalen Brunson's going to drop 50, and we're going to be going back to Indiana up 3-2. This team is schizo, dog. It's schizophrenic. You don't know what they're going to do. And knowing them, because they're crazy, Alec Burks might drop 30 and have the game of his life, and we're 1 win away from the conference. They're crazy. That's all I'll say. We don't got to go home, but we got to get the hell up out of here. I'm done. Peace.